Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Happy December. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and looking forward to the Christmas season. My name's Steve. I'm with Hives for Heroes, connecting veterans and first responders to beekeeping all over the country. Thank you all for being here. We got South Central Indiana already. Lots of good news coming out of Indiana here recently. Today we have a super special guest, but I want to go over a little bit of updates as we prepare for the largest beekeeping conference in the country, which is the Bee Expo, hosted January 2nd through 4th in Louisville, Kentucky. We're going to see a lot of people there. Hives for Heroes gear is all over the place. We love Cayman and Laurel and all the things that they do for the beekeeping community. A very special piece of that will be our Heroes Dinner, and we'll be doing that on the second day, so on the 3rd. The tickets are still available currently, but there's a catch. There's only like 38 tickets left. So if you can go to the website and get your tickets now, it's sponsored by Man Lake. So thank you to Man Lake, Miller Bee Supply, and John from Hilco. Also, we have the Murphy Ridge band there. That's incredible. That is a bluegrass band that's going to be so much fun. And then thank you as well to Mission Barbecue for supporting with the food and the service that will be there as well. 38 tickets left. It's on the website. You can see it there. Again, January 2nd through 4th, the North American Honeybee Expo. It's going to be a great time. Lots of friendly faces there. Tons of gear, tons of education. You're not going to want to miss it. So today we have a very special guest. His name is Dr. David Tarpy from North Carolina State. And I was able to meet him at a conference in Nevada that I love going to. I always talk about the food, but it's really the people that are out in the Nevada State Beekeeping Conference with Miss Debbie Gilmore, and we love it. And so we had a good opportunity to talk and spend time together as we shared rides. We went back and forth from the airport. John, David, and I had tons of time to talk, and I got to know this gentleman at a cool, really good level of where he is doing things in the beekeeping community all across the state of North Carolina, and has offered some assistance here with Hives for Heroes as well. So good evening, and thank you for being here.
Great. Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate being here, and hello, everybody.
So today, we just want to get to know you a little bit. You have, I will say, we did a little bit of internet research on you. You got a ton of really good reviews from the students. They think you're pretty fantastic.
Oh, well, not so much this semester. I've been flamed online more often than I'd like, but I do teach a 180 student course on honeybees every fall semester. I've been doing it for 18 years at NC State here. And it's not your typical beekeeping course. I think what a lot of the audience and folks might think here when give a beekeeping course is you learn how to keep bees. And actually, nothing is farther from the truth. It's one of these kind of general education requirements for biology and science for all of those non-science majors, right? So they're kind of compelled to take a science course, just like us science majors had to take that English lit course that we hated, right? So it's all of these kind of non-science majors, like history majors and poli-sci and art majors, taking this one required course on science. And so the course is really developed using honeybees as a vehicle to teach these non-biologists a little something about biology and science. And so it's really an appreciation course of bees and their biology and their importance to agriculture.
Absolutely.
And so it's a really nice vehicle, and it's really a lot of fun teaching it, because the last unit that we have, we talk about the impacts that honeybees and beekeeping has had on society. So I have a lecture on warfare and politics, a lecture on religion and mythology. I have a lecture on popular culture, art and literature, just all these different topics that bees and beekeeping have had an effect on society. And so it's not your standard beekeeping course by any means.
I mean, that sounds pretty interesting because you're now tying together the world and what's really going on and why bees are so important. And you teach a lot. I mean, you said you've been doing this for 18 years, so I'm going to go a little bit backwards. How did you get started in beekeeping? People love the origination story.
Oh yeah, my origin story. Okay. Well, so I'm a faculty brat, which means my parents are also academics. So I like to say that I've been in college since conception. And so I've always really kind of been around kind of the liberal arts, multidisciplinary kind of environment. And but when I was an undergrad, I was a biology major, but I really didn't know what to do or why, what I wanted to do. But then I got linked up with some textbooks on bee biology by a faculty friend, and he suggested that I read those. And it was like one of these books that I picked it up and I couldn't put it down. I just finished the whole thing, and I felt like a real connection to the honeybee system as a biologist, as a scientist. And so having that aha moment, which I think some of us, not many of us, but some of us are blessed with really having, I said, okay, that's what I want to do for my career. And so I like to tell the beekeepers actually that during my master's and my PhD degrees, I was keeping bees for like 5 or 6 years before I read my first beekeeping textbook. My first beekeeping how-to book, right?
Yeah.
Because, to me, the beekeeping was a means to an end to propagate my study organisms, right?
Yeah.
So I was studying them for science, and then the beekeeping followed suit. And so then when I started this job here at NC State University, I also have an extension component, which means that I work directly with beekeepers and folks like you. And so we're able to translate the science to the beekeeping as well as the classroom.
Yeah, and you have a very, very large program. Matt, of course, our state leader, Matt Booth, out there in North Carolina, gets to have a relationship with you out there on the physical sense because y'all are in the same state and has gone through a lot of your courses as well. On those pieces, like how many people are in your programs? Like how does that go? Because from my understanding, you've done things with the Master Beekeeping programs. Clearly, you've done things at schools and then the Bees Academy. Yeah,
so we have a lot of plate spinning, right? And I'd much rather have it that way. And so we're really a collective, right? So right now we have 17 people in our lab group, ranging from undergraduate students to postdoctoral associates to full-time technicians and just kind of everything in between. And one of the things that I really like about our program is that everybody is kind of doing their own thing, but it's a different thing. We're not all working on the same thing together. Mm-hmm. We're working on different things together, but then we're helping each other in those things. So it's very complementary. It's kind of like a unit in the military, right? Where everybody kind of has their role, a division of labor, but we have a common goal and a common method where we can fill in for each other when need be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, so a lot of the extension initiatives that we have going on this spring, and then research as well. So yeah, so we have a lot going on. Yeah. This spring is going to be particularly interesting, as I'm sure many of you know, and certainly the North Carolinian folks on the call here. Western North Carolina, the mountainous regions of North Carolina were hit really, really hard by Hurricane Helene. Very unexpectedly, the eastern coastal part of North Carolina is used to getting hurricanes.
Right.
The mountains are not. And so the flooding associated from that was been really, really devastating. And so one thing that we're collaborating with our State Beekeepers Association and the North Carolina Department of Agriculture is that we're coordinating a relief effort to try and help Western North Carolina beekeepers grow their colonies back. Okay. We're trying to get surveys of losses, who lost equipment, who lost bees, who lost, resources like feed and sugar, those kind of things. And we're pairing up the counties in unaffected regions with counties in the affected regions so that they can work more directly in getting the resources that they need We're also going to be doing trainings on queen rearing, because one of the most powerful mechanisms that you have as a beekeeper to grow your colony numbers back is to take your existing colonies, split them in half, and then give the queenless one a queen. And so now you can grow your numbers back much more effectively and productively. So we're going to kind of have that 1-2 punch of providing resources, but then also providing training to be able to have beekeepers in the affected regions help themselves.
I love this aspect, because again, you're an educator, yet really this is a community coming together. When we learned about this, Matt was at our doorstep, via the phone saying, hey, we need to do something about this. Yeah. So Hives for Heroes created a disaster relief fund, the first ever that we know of, that has been happening in existence, because our commercial beekeepers, they have insurance, right? They have different strategies because they've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
But our backyard beekeepers and our growing beekeepers, they don't have these resources.
Exactly.
So we've heard the stories and we reacted to that. We responded with the disaster relief fund that's on the website as well. And that has an application base. So if you're on this call affected by anything in the Florida and North Carolina areas, please submit an application. We have already had money going out to those that are affected. So again,
and we really appreciate that. And we've had people reach out to us nationwide to be able to offer their assistance. And so these things are now coming together. We're kind of completing the exploration phase of who has lost what, because it's taken months, because some people have just gotten electricity back, or and they had much bigger priorities to worry about than bees.
Absolutely.
Right? But now that we're kind of at that point, I think we'll be able to bring these things together. And as you said, it's really a community helping other communities at the local level, rather than kind of this top down kind of dictated approach. And we're just helping to facilitate, what do you need? Let's get some transportation to move some nukes up. Let's have a nuke building workshop day, right? Where everybody just brings a hammer and paint,
it's kind of turning a bad situation into something good for your community and actually bring people closer together after destruction and tragedy.
Exactly. And I think some people actually have been talking about that, about kind of building back better, right? Where, especially through queen rearing and some of those types of efforts, breeding local stock rather than, queens from just wherever, that actually might help improve the local population of honeybees, right? Where from where it was before. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here, and we're really wanting to capitalize on that.
Well, we have people from all over the country here. Just looking through the chat, we got Massachusetts, Maine, your home state, North Carolina, California, Georgia, Colorado, people from all over the place. Of course, we're from Texas, but currently we're in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, which is so beautiful. I haven't been here since I was in the Marine Corps. But there are a couple of other questions here that is in the chat, so please feel free to throw questions in the chat. Gordo and D are asking if you are familiar with The Lives of Bees by Thomas Seeley. And if so, have you found any value in that research and his studies?
I am familiar with that. And I am very lucky and fortunate to have been mentored by Tom during my postdoctoral days.
Of course.
So I spent three years at Cornell with Tom, and he's just such an amazing mentor, scientist, human being, beekeeper, everything. And my entire career, I've just fallen short in trying to keep up with his model. And so, I really respect everything that he has done and everything from that. And, his books, that's something I've never been able to touch. He's been very productive in writing books. I never have. I always like to say, once I can't get grants anymore, that's probably what I'll do, is write books, because I won't be able to do anything else. But yes, I think there's just so much that he has provided, both scientifically as well as to apiculture, that it's just a really hard act to follow.
So everybody has a mentor, is what you're saying. Isn't that great? That's really cool. I did not know that. We've talked a while. I did not realize that you had that close personal connection with him. That's really awesome. Ralph Kettle asked, are you working with beekeepers, all beekeepers, to recover from the hurricane, or just commercial beaks? I think you answered that. Everybody, anybody that's affected.
In fact, it is mostly the smaller scale beekeepers, because as you said, Steve, I think the larger scale beekeepers can already grow their colonies back. They can go to the FSA, get partial compensation. We're trying to help kind of sideliners and kind of larger small scale beekeepers do the same. But it's really those beekeepers with 1 or 2 hives that it would just be so easy to just give up, leave the community, so I think we're trying to help all beekeepers with what they have and what their needs are. But you're right, the needs are different depending on the scale. And so again, we're not dictating these things. We're linking up counties to counties so that they can work it out at the local level, and we're just here to facilitate.
Yeah, be it a facilitating aspect. We got Pennsylvania, Iowa, Tennessee, Kentucky, Oklahoma. I mean, people are coming in from all over the place, which I love seeing, of course. Gary Burns out of California says queen rearing is his favorite part of beekeeping, which is pretty fantastic. Quick shout out to Gary Burns. He just made it a copy of his inspection logbook and branded that for us, and now it's available on the Amazon store. So we have a tool for you to be able to use at an affordable cost as well, which is awesome. And an Arkansas one here just said hi as well. Let's see. I would like to go back to when we connected. We hadn't met before, so of course this show is called Connect and Serve, and I think we've done a pretty darn good job of that, especially being halfway across the country from each other. But connecting at a conference, right, that we were speaking at, being able to spend some time together, and now serving in the capacities you are. How's that been an experience for you? I mean, you're talking, Sealy, a lot of incredible people that you've known, getting out there and speaking and meeting people. Has that impacted your life in a pretty significant way?
Oh, very positive way. Absolutely. You know the beekeeping community as well as I do. And we're all a bit crazy, but we're all very social as well, right? And so I just really love the diversity of people, but the commonality. You travel across the nation, and beekeepers are the same everywhere, but then they're also very different in every,
Right.
Every nook and cranny of our wonderful nation. So, it's always a very rewarding thing. Obviously, you can't travel all the time. One thing that I absolutely adore, if there's one good thing about the pandemic, it's that we're now used to using these virtual interfaces, and I've never done as many, presentations. And I've been pushing the virtual, extension engagement since a decade before, the pandemic. But now that it's kind of much more accepted into the way that we're able to connect and gather, it really doesn't replace, of course, the actual kind of face-to-face interactions, but it's certainly a great way to have these kind of conversations, and I appreciate you embracing that.
Absolutely. And, this service aspect, as we continue moving forward, of course, we have a large organization. You didn't go through your numbers, but I know y'all have significant numbers of beekeepers going through your programs in North Carolina. You've opened them up. They're online. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, of how Hives for Heroes and North Carolina State's working together. But how has that been able to translate? I mean, you're talking what you could do face-to-face, now virtually, and the things that you've done, you're able to serve a much larger community with your knowledge, experience, etc.
Yeah, so one of the things that we did about 15 years ago, kind of at not the very cutting edge or early edge, but fairly early on in the distance education revolution, where a lot of classes were moving online. And so you can have online classes just like this, where they're live and the instructor is, providing, information or whatever in real time. But then there's also the platform of asynchronous online education, where in essence, instructors like myself will provide learning opportunities and lectures in video form, and then the student can log on and watch them at their own volition on their own time. So it's asynchronous and it's not, live in time. And so about 15 years ago, we developed what we call the Beekeeper Education and Engagement System, the acronym of which is BEES. And so the Bees Network was really always seen as kind of this online learning community. And one of the original ideas that I had was to really empower local county agents and master beekeepers or others who wanted to conduct a training in their immediate locality, but they didn't have the expertise in beekeeping. And so the idea was for them to then kind of farm out that content to me, and I would just be projected, or my video, right? The course would be projected to a room full of folks, and they would learn, all of this stuff, so that the actual facilitator wouldn't have to become the expert themselves. And it's certainly done that, but it's also been a great opportunity for people to learn online on their own time, at their own pace, right? Low pressure, if they're not able to make their local bee school, it just provides a lot more opportunity and facility. And so the last estimates that I calculated is that we've had 4,600 beekeepers take our online courses for something like 16,000 hours of content.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and this is worldwide. I've had people from New Zealand and Sub-Saharan Africa and Europe and and all over the United States. So that's been really fulfilling and rewarding. And again, it just empowers the local beekeeper to kind of get up to speed and do their own thing. The content of the Bees Network is kind of multi-tiered. We have a beginner level, we have advanced level, and then we have what we call an ambassador level, which is where that engagement really starts to kind of feed back in the beekeeper education engagement system. And a lot of our content is at that advanced level, but we do have kind of these 3 courses at the beginner level. And one thing that we're collaborating on and teaming up with you guys is that this January, we're going to have what we call an online bees school. So it's these beginner beekeeping online classes at the beginner level. So the idea is to take non-beekeepers and getting them up to speed so that they know how to start keeping bees. And it's going to be 3 weeks. So you take the first course, you have a whole week to take the first course, and then we have a live interactive discussion on that content, just like we are right now. The second week, the same. The third week, the same. And then you can take your online quiz that's automatically graded, and you get an e-certificate of completion that says you now have taken this kind of introductory training. And we got a grant through the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund and the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Fund through the USDA to help provide a near full refund for veterans and first responders who have completed that beginner course. So if there's anybody here that has not taken that type of course before, or if there's anybody that you might know, please go on to our website at ncsuapiculture.net, and you'll be able to find our online bees courses. And there's a link right there to register for the 2025 Beginner Bees School.
That's incredible. I mean, the collaboration that goes on across the United States, but to be able to put this education in the pockets of veterans and first responders whenever they need it is it's truly impactful. So we had a gap, right? We were looking at this education piece in a way of how do you get the tools and knowledge to people immediately. So of course, working with John, working with you, working with Florida, and a lot of other organizations, everybody's coming together and really seeing that this is extremely beneficial for our mission, which is to keep veterans thriving, to keep veterans alive, is the most important and critical piece in this beautiful thing that we call beekeeping, which is fantastic. So we thank you so much for that, because I know you had to put in the work, not only on the creation piece, but also on the grant application piece. And so we thank you for that. And I know we'll drop that in the chat, and it will also be coming out in an email format as well. So there's more detailed information for everybody that is or is not on this call, because there's clearly a lot of people not on the call. So thank you again for that. And I just think it's going to be incredible for all these individuals to hear more from you as well.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Do you want to talk a little bit about the thing that we want to do, but we haven't gotten funding yet?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So Steve and I, we've submitted some grants for a project that we call Apiability. So many of you might know Agribility, which is a USDA funded program that helps those with disabilities, physical or otherwise, engage and interface with different aspects of agriculture. And so we saw a real opportunity and need for that similar thing, but specific to apiculture or beekeeping.
Correct.
And so we've been trying many times. Everybody loves the idea. We haven't got it funded yet, but it would just be really, really great to be able to have a beekeeping version of Agribility, and just provide more opportunity for those with disabilities to enter into beekeeping and remove those barriers to getting into beekeeping and to be successful at it. So, wounded warriors, behavioral disorders, all sorts of other opportunities that beekeeping can afford. And your operation and your organization has really shown how beekeeping can be a really great way to draw everybody together and provide that sense of community. But again, if there's barriers to getting into that, we need to remove those barriers.
Have to,
and
yes.
So, hopefully someday we might be able to capitalize on that. But again, it's going to take a bunch of outside inputs.
Yes.
But once we do, I'll be really excited about that.
Yeah, and we've had some small successes that are huge to the individual, small on scale, but huge to the individual, with horizontal hives, with Bearsville bees that have been able to donate things, with the Keeper's Hive, just a lot of really good people that are able to do that. We'd like to make it more consistent, right? We want to make it that it is a normal thing to be not normal, if that makes sense. That's right. And that's okay, because we want that community to thrive, and you can only thrive in a way that everybody's welcomed. We have Grivois saying that they would like to see if there's some ways to volunteer and help with events in the Western North Carolina area. So I'd ask you to reach out to maybe NC State, but definitely Matt at NC at hivesforheroes.org. He is your state leader out there, and he does wonderful jobs, not only there as a state leader, but he has a full-time job too, and he does a wonderful out there. Gordo and Dee also say we work at the first responder organization that is doing extensive work in Western North Carolina, wondering if there's any way we can coordinate to assist. That's going to be the same response. I would reach out to Dr. Tarpy. I would reach out to Matt at the national level. Of course, we'd love to help with that, but we're not boots on the ground. And we want the boots on the ground, understanding the situation at the tactical level to see where things are best needed and can benefit the most people. With limited resources, let's stay smart. Jim McMahon out of Idaho, he's our state leader out there. He's an incredible guy. He says really interesting stuff because he's making changes to his apiary to allow wheelchair-bound vets there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly kind of the vision. And the grants, that we had submitted, we had some ideas of. That's one example. The horizontal hive is another example, but then also building in grants for local chapters and local clubs to think of opportunities that we can't think of, right? So, trying again to empower the local beekeepers to, it's not a one size fit all, but Correct. It's trying to provide resources and grants to give to those local chapters to build what is needed to provide those, to remove those barriers at the local level, because it's not always going to be the same. So we want, the hope was to try to empower the local chapters to do that. But again, we need to find that funding agency that wants to back it.
Absolutely. Ralph Kettle out of Colorado, I apologize. He's asking, are there any published standards to increase access for physical disabilities in apiaries?
That's a really good question. And I'm by no means an expert. The folks, so the folks we teamed up with, Steve, are in the North Carolina Agricultural Medicine Institute, as well as the agribility folks, right, who do this in all sorts of other sectors within agriculture, but they don't know anything about beekeeping, right? So that's where this division of labor and this kind of coming together is really, really great. So I'm not going to speak with any sort of authority about kind of what are the best ways, ergonomic or otherwise, to be able to, assist, folks with disabilities, because it is going to depend on the specific case. But I think generally things like the horizontal hives or other things where lifting, crouching, and things that are more readily accessible by most anybody, I think is really the best way to do it. So, I think in general, for clubs or others that have communal apiaries or resources, you should consider getting a horizontal hive or something like that, just so that they're not all kind of, 5-story Langstraws that, you might not realize that that's not as accessible for that could be a barrier for some.
Right.
So it's just one of those things that you should think about.
And the concept of what do you actually want from beekeeping, right? That's some of this is like, oh man, I got to do what this other person did because I saw their YouTube or I saw this education. That's not actually your truth, right? Your truth could be like somebody like Troy who loves a Langstroth but goes, man, my back just can't handle this anymore. Why didn't I find horizontal hives sooner?
Exactly right.
And so we have, I haven't seen a lot of published stuff. I know Agribility does do some things in those areas, but I would say utilize each other for resources and best practices. I mean, these are things that we can post in the groups and you see what you like, but really create your identity here and start figuring things out. And maybe you, like somebody that's watching right now, is the person to come up with that. That's the kind of the cool part about this group is that you just be creative as you want to be. And then we'll see if it works and share it. And that works out wonderfully.
Exactly.
So what are the next steps for you, NC State? I know that you had worked with the Master Beekeeping Program, stepped out of that area to focus on the bees and continue that. So what are your next steps here in the beekeeping world?
So some other extension initiatives that we're doing this upcoming year is that we have, so the bees is all online and asynchronous. But obviously, one of the downsides of that is that there's no direct interaction with the instructors, and there's no hands-on opportunities, right? So we've also been, for the last 5 or more years, we've been doing these things that we call the Bees Academies, which is it's kind of a hybrid version of the online content with live content. So we're kind of go out into the counties, into different areas, and we kind of go around the state. And we have these 2-day trainings, 1 or 2-day trainings, depending on what we're doing. And we have some of the recorded content. We have live content. We have hands-on content. We have Q&A. We have socializing. And so we're kind of, merging the kind of the new online stuff with more of the traditional stuff. So we're going to be doing a bunch of those Bees Academies at the intermediate level as well as the advanced level. Across the state and the region. Another thing too that we're doing, and this is getting kind of out there, and again, this is on a pending grant that we hope to get, but one thing that we're trying to do is to come up with a better way to assess the source of nectar in honey that does not rely on the pollen grains within that honey. So as many of you very well might know, a lot of people use the morphology of the pollen or the microscopic pollen grains that are in minute amounts in the honey, right? They use that as a proxy for where the nectar came from. But I've always had a beef with that because nectar foragers collect nectar, pollen foragers collect pollen, and just because there's that pollen in the honey doesn't mean that's where the nectar came from. It's a crude proxy at best. It's the best one that we've had. And so people have been testing that, but it's not really necessarily the source. It's a guess of where the source came from. And they have these new, I'm no chemist, right? But they have these new chemistry, very sensitive means of detecting all sorts of different chemical compounds, including flavonoids and other compounds that make particular honeys taste like that honey. So if we can use a chemical rather than genetic or pollen-based means of assessing where that nectar came from, then it's something that can't be defrauded. It's immediately measurable because you're measuring the thing that makes it taste like that. And I think it's going to be a lot better to be able to try to ascertain kind of what nectar plants your bees are foraging on. And so we're starting, of course, with some of the varietals that are here in North Carolina to see how sensitive it is. And our preliminary data suggests that we're able to detect pure honey that is cut with only 10% high fructose corn syrup, and we can tell that difference.
Yes.
So I think it's incredibly sensitive. And if we can really start to kind of check off these varietals one by one, we'll be able to, have, I think, a much more superior and hopefully cheaper and higher throughput means of being able to test honey. We're a long way from there, right? Long way from there. And this technology has been used and being used in Europe and in other places as well. But here we're still kind of using pollen as a proxy for where the nectar came from. And I think we need to move past that.
I think that's incredible. I mean, you're talking about a lot of health concerns for people that don't know what's in the honey, the adulterated honey aspect. These are things that we are fighting the boots on the ground level with through Hives for Heroes and some other projects that we're working on. So I personally love that. That is fantastic. One person says this may end the purple honey debate. Another person says, wow. And then, of course, Top Bar Lori says, hey, Top Bar Hives, all mentees for her, and she does. They all learn Top Bar, Long Lane, Cathedral, and Box Hives. I mean, it's really important to understand the bee, but also understand that they can be anywhere, right? And only learning one thing is really kind of cheating yourself, not necessarily the bee so much. I mean, of course, they're going to do what they want to do anyway, but, being able to learn all aspects of beekeeping and have conversations and experiences is really, really cool on a story side.
Well, one of the things that I think is really paralyzing for beginner beekeepers or non-beekeepers that might want to they're interested in getting into beekeeping, but they kind of don't. They're kind of gun shy of doing so, is that there's so many, you're just overwhelmed by the choices and the options, and it just seems so daunting, right? Like you just open a beekeeping catalog and you just see all these little devices. You're like, oh my gosh, I need all this stuff, forget it, right? But once you realize the bees don't care, right? The hive is just their house and they don't care most of the time, right? Like they're going to make do. They're going to build their lives inside whatever box is provided. And once you realize that, well, any of these options are kind of almost equally fine, use it. If you like it, keep doing it. If you don't, try something else. That really helps to kind of demystify the whole thing about beekeeping. And it allows you to realize that, hey, there's no right or wrong answers. They're kind of all right and kind of all wrong at the same time, right? It's beekeeping.
It's beekeeping. Yeah, ask 10 people a question, you get 13 different answers. Ask them 5 minutes later, you get another response.
That's exactly right. But that's the reason for it, is that it's complicated, but it shouldn't be daunting. And so we really need to communicate that to would-be and new beekeepers. You can do, as a beekeeper, you can do everything right and still things go wrong.
Correct.
That's fine. It's
That's
not
okay.
failure. It's just,
and having a community to support you going through that, knowing that you're not the only one that has quote unquote failed. It's okay. Right.
Absolutely.
Will is asking, he's from Kentucky. Is there any professors doing anything like you're doing, like similar project? It might have been in response to the honey question.
Oh, great question. I don't really know. Again, I'm not a chemist. I'm teaming up with a true chemist at Wake Forest University, who runs their chemistry analytical center there and happens to be a hobbyist beekeeper.
Awesome. That's incredible. And of course,
Therefore,
yeah.
we're able to make this connection where you wouldn't otherwise, right? So this is another reason why that community is so amazing, and getting to know each other and finding those common areas of overlap where you might be able to do something fun or meaningful.
So, and we have a little bit of time left. Right now it's already 8:40, so we're going to drop Freedom into the chat. We remember every month we give away 2 $100 gift cards to the local shop of your area as a store, so that you can get some gear, but also promote local small businesses. We want to make sure that we're not just shopping on Amazon for our gear, because trust me, when you need it, you're going to want those stores to be there. So drop in Freedom into the chat. And then the next 5 minutes, we'll get 2 $100 gift cards out to everybody. Let's see. I'm seeing if there's any other one. Man, Freedom just popped in there like crazy. So I'm trying to see if there was any other ones that were here. Gordo and D said the bees just tolerate our managed systems. So right to kind of the hero aspect. Why do you give back? Why do you serve this veteran community that we know, like, and love? What's in it for you, if you will?
Well, it's to grow our community and to make the bond stronger. I mean, I don't it's a no-brainer to me. And here in North Carolina, we have an incredible military presence with Fort Liberty and Johnson Air Force Base, and there's a very excellent community of military, ex-military, veterans, and the whole bit. And we also have the largest state association in the nation with nearly 6,000 paid dues members.
Wow.
And of our 100 counties, we have 86 of them have a local chapter that meet once a month. So, our numbers are legion, and we really need to embrace. And so, the saying, nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that our master beekeeper program, our apiary inspectors, all of we work so well together to continue to promote, and there's only strength in numbers, just like a honeybee colony, right?
Absolutely.
And so, we just want to be able to grow. We were very fortunate to have some funding that came our way that enabled us to specifically target and to help veterans and first responders. And so, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, we love working with you guys. The more I get to know you, the more I like you. I mean, again, like you said, there's so many amazing comments that come out for on those internet things, but you've been doing this for an awful long time at a very, very high level, serving massive communities. So these are things that we can learn from you, and that continued service aspect. Again, this is called connect and serve. How do you connect with others and then serve others well? That's what we should be doing as humans. And it just so happens that we get to be beekeepers, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate organizations like yours. You guys are the same, been doing this for a long time and working really hard and growing leaps and bounds. And so it's been really gratifying to see just the arc of the community that you've been able to build. And so hats off to you and all of your state representatives across the nation.
We have just such incredible leaders all throughout the United States that have stepped up and taken that flag to say, I'm going to serve one. And that has turned into our number. Everybody talks about numbers, and those are all good. Our number is one. Serve one. Give your time, talent, knowledge to one person. You never know where that's going to go. One share could provide a life-saving opportunity for somebody in your network on social media, for example. You really have no idea. So we like to focus on that one. Do we have our recipients? Yes. Awesome. So we have 2 recipients today. Oh, really? That's cool. 2 recipients today. Thank y'all so much for being here. We have Magic Valley Bees. Magic Valley Bees, congratulations on your $100 gift card. And we have Alberta. Congratulations on your $100 gift card. We know that you guys can use it. Thank y'all so much for being here. Again, we want to be able to show where these dollars go on many, many aspects. Of course, y'all know we do all of our Be More scholarships that are published. You see those dollars all went out as well, which we are so grateful for, because the comments that we get back are really life-changing. type comments, and we love sharing that with the community. And then of course our BU scholarship, anybody is eligible. You put up the money up front, put your money where your mouth is. When you pass, we pay you back, no questions asked. So we are removing the financial barriers for your education, but also providing the massive amount of choice to go to the program in which you want, the one that is best for you. Maybe it's online, maybe it's commercial, maybe it's something else. That's not for us to decide. We want you to be able to decide where you want to go. Do some research, put some skin in the game, and then get paid back. So I'd like to thank you, sir. Thank you so much for everything that you do, everything that you're going to continue to do. And I know we have a lot of very big thank yous on the chat for you as well. I have a feeling you're going to get some more hits on your website pretty soon. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here tonight. We very much appreciate you. And I hope you have a rest of a good year. Merry Christmas, happy holidays for everybody. And of course, a happy new year to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye. All right, we're bringing to the stage Mr. Charles McMaster, the National Connection Director of Hives for Heroes. Look at that. I think it says you're getting ready for Nabi. Whatever do you mean?
Why get ready? We're should already be prepared. We're going to be doing the same thing we do every other day.
You got a lot of things going on, Charlie. You're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people showing up to the table and things of that nature. We have our event. Again, I want to share with you, go to the website. There was 38 tickets when we started this. There's going to be a benefit dinner. Of course, that's also a fundraiser. That goes to the scholarships and things of that nature for the organization as well. And then you'll be seeing some really cool announcements there. Thank you so much to Craig, who is taking the spear and leading this effort of all the coordination. Craig Midget from Tennessee, thank you so much. And then the awesome amount of people that are helping out, coordinating this, Charlie, Neela, Matt, and all the others that are there, Will and Candy. Thank you all so much for your efforts in getting this done. It is going to be a fantastic time.
Yes, sir.
Charlie, how are the connections doing?
We've been, took a little break for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
It's then sitting down and then resorting a couple things. So it's been a little bit less than usual flow. But then again, I thought I needed to take a breath.
You do. You deserve it.
I'll say I started slacking off and started doing some things around the house. Now the lawn tractor is cutting weeds. Being a sidewalk supervisor for the latest construction project that's going on that the city's doing in front of my house. So little things like that. I got to catch my breath on that stuff. So kicking back in tomorrow. One of the things I want to have everybody do, if you're a newbie that's on this activity tonight, send an email to connect@hivesforheroes.org. Let me know where you are, and I'll do what I can to either log you in with a mentor, or I'll tell you where the mentor isn't, and I'll let you know. Hey, we're sorry, we're a little slow on getting the journey started for you, as far as it is working with a mentor. There's other things you can be doing,
Absolutely.
Such as the Arkansas beekeeping courses, University of Arkansas beekeeping courses. Dr. Tarpy will be getting some stuff out to us as well. So we'll be keeping up with giving you activities to get you affiliated with Hives for Heroes and the community as a whole, the beekeeping community.
Absolutely.
Same way with mentors. If you're a mentor and you can do more than one newbie, or if you're able to support more than one newbie, please let us know. Again, connect@hivesforheroes.org. Let us know. I'll change it, and then I'll start adding. I will contact you, though. I will contact you, and just to verify, okay, is it all right? I don't think that anybody bogarted your email logins and all that stuff, but I just want to give you the opportunity, and I want to make sure that yes, that's true. And also tell your friends, if they're not online tonight, I have been calling each and every newbie that I can associate, I can pair, and I will do that. Make sure, are they still interested? So I want to get a hard or a firm yes or no answer. If you answer the phone, great, I'll talk with you. And if you've got time, I do too. If you don't have time, just say so. Hey, I'm busy. I'm at work. I'll call you later. We'll talk another day. No problem. It's not there to, I'm not there to PO you, PO you.
Yep.
I just wanted to have that little contact with you, make that connection, and see where we're going to go next. And
Absolutely.
by we, I'm talking we, not just me and Steve. I'm talking we, you and I, connect and newbie. Want to make sure everything's going. Introduce you, let you know about your state leader. It's a whole flow. And we're
Charlie,
all
thank you
together.
so much for everything that you do for this organization. The back end, people don't know how much effort you put into it. We're very, very grateful. So to close out tonight, Jim McMahon also put on here that the American Beekeeping Federation will be in Nevada, Reno, Nevada, January 7th through 10th. That's another incredible opportunity to go to an event. Jim McMahon will be there. He's our Idaho and Oregon state leader, incredible individual. And he says, come by and say hi. That should be on our events page. Remember, this stuff is really easy, ladies and gentlemen. It gets really easy. You're going to get a welcome email. It's going to give you tons of information to join groups, to get education, to work the steps through what we do here at Hives for Heroes. And then you're going to go to the events page, see what's going on. You're going to have a resource page that has everything that you need to be successful. We're here as a community. We're never going to direct you to do anything, but we do want to provide opportunities for you on your journey, because the journey really is the goal. And we know here we are much better together, sharing resources, collaborating together, and working in the efforts of those veterans and first responders that we can serve best. So we're going to end a little bit early today. Thank y'all so much for being here and present. Yes, Alberto, we're in DC out here. We are at the Elizabeth Dole Foundation Gala. It is an incredible night, and much more announcements to come in the future for Hives for Heroes. 2025 is going to be a massive, massive year. We're very, very excited to be able to have the opportunity to serve you. This is what we get to do. It's incredible. And then I think also 34 tickets left. So during this call, 4 tickets went. So 34 tickets left with less than a month for the Nabi event. There are tons and tons of things going on, ladies and gentlemen. It is up to you to be involved. We're here. If you're here, we're going to be supporting you. So thank y'all all for being a part of this call. Thank you for being a part of Hives for Heroes. And if you have any kind of special gifts, unique talents, or abilities, reach out to us. We could utilize it. And you can serve this large group of people that are doing incredible things all throughout the United States. So thank y'all so much for being here, and I hope y'all have a wonderful night.